Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening and welcome back. Thank you for joining us here at day 3 of Lakmé Fashion Week's Digital First Season Fluid Edition. We all just witnessed Master Couturier Amit Aggarwal's latest festive edit, FirstLight, in collaboration with TRESemmé. The showcase was undoubtedly an exotic explosion of unique colors, silhouettes, and glamour. Joining us today are Mr. Jaspreet Chandok, Head, Lifestyle Businesses, IMG Reliance, as well as everyone's favorite and the man of the hour, Amit Aggarwal himself. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you.
Jaspreet, thank you for joining us. TRESemmé has always brought to the fore shows that are impactful and hard to miss, and this was no different. Tell us about the association this time around with Lakmé Fashion Week, as well as the partnership with Amit Aggarwal.
So for us, I think one of the things that we have actively pursued is having the right brands associated with our fashion week, and for us having TRESemmé on board as a long-term partner has fit right in that strategy. As you see, TRESemmé and fashion has strong roots across their communications for years, and I hope for years to come as well. They activate at the New York Fashion Week as well. It's a truly global brand, in its association with fashion. It's an iconic brand. I was speaking to the TRESemmé brand team just before the conference, and I think they wanted to also bring forth the reason why a designer like Amit has been chosen for the showcase, because TRESemmé as a brand stands for making a woman's presence felt, and there's if you saw the video, there was really no better let's say view to a woman's presence than how Amit really presented it. There was a lot of preparation that was required to shoot a video such as this, which is exactly what the brand TRESemmé also speaks about, which is the power of prep. So I think this whole partnership of what Amit has been able to achieve through the fashion film medium, and this whole partnership of TRESemmé just then flows organically. TRESemmé is also focusing on their new range of sulfate free and the professional range that they're doing, and I think you could see the usage of that in the show as well. I think the hair really stood out, even though it was against a black background. And I think the sheen and the and the TRESemmé products that were used really. I think that's something that the team and Amit also discussed. How do you get the hair to stand out in a black background? And he spoke about how the products itself have been so fantastic with the hair that that should not be a concern at all. We're always glad to have Amit back with us. He has now completed the Holy Grand Slam for us and Unilever, which is a Lakmé Salon show, a Lakmé finale, and a TRESemmé show. So that's the Holy Trinity for Unilever. Now you can retire.
Good year to retire.
Yeah, but we are always glad to have him here, and maybe he can speak about how he brought his vision to life, which has been fantastic.
Right. Thank you, Jaspreet. Amit, would you like to add on to that? Being here at LFW's first digital showcase, how is it like?
Of course, I'm really humbled, firstly, because Lakmé and all the supporters of Lakmé have always been with us throughout our journey and helped us grow, helped us put our vision across in association with other creative individuals. And I think, time and again, every time we have a company like TRESemmé or a visionary like TRESemmé come on board, it becomes a very interesting collaboration, because there is, of course, a dialogue that stems from a thought, and then how both parties push it together and create something magical and wonderful. And I'm glad with Jaspreet's words that I feel that we've been able to create that magic yet again, a little bit of it. I just feel that, of course, like we mentioned even before we started the conversation, that it was a lot to do with shine. It was technically a lot to do with I think technically the prowess that all of us hold within us. So I think the entire idea was this extreme fluidity and lightness by just being yourself as the only star in the sky. And when I actually, when TRESemmé and I got speaking about this, I think the entire idea kind of matched. It was because they actually wanted to project fluid, natural hair, because they're kind of working with a product that's sulfate free, and we thought that okay, let hair be, almost fluid, non-structural, almost an extension of you. Let it shine as much as you do as a person yourself. So I think that kind of put together the collection and the vision for the festive edit.
That's fantastic. It was quite evident in your showcase today. Thank you so much, Amit. Thank you, Jaspreet, for joining us. I'm now going to open the floor to questions. I'd request all the attendees to please drop in your questions in the Q&A box below, and we'll take it from there. I already have questions for you. Okay. Okay, Amit, the first question being, what is your USP as the designer, and what is the kind of fabric that you have used for this collection?
I honestly would say that the USP of me as a designer or a brand, I think, is that we've kept it really fluid, and we've kind of probably experimented so much with different genres of fashion that I think we've been able to keep it abreast and exciting and new and modern and technically a kind of, literally surprising every single time. So I would say, of course, there's structure, there's fluidity, there's brilliant shine, and all of that. Of course, that is the visual USP. But I think if you ask me about the core, I think it's experimentation. It's the fact that you can keep creating something new and try to create more magic as you go along.
Tell us what was so unique about working with TRESemmé this time around.
I honestly feel I'll boil this down to one key word, which actually was the motto of the entire show itself. I think was the freedom. I just felt really, really happy to be speaking to a team of people at TRESemmé, including their creative director. That this is the time where one really, literally wants to feel free, and almost a land of escape. And I think that that is where the thought started from, that we wanted hair to be an extension of you. And I think this really matched together, like I said, and I think that a journey started. And I think there was a lot of creative dialogue, but ultimately there was an equal amount of creative liberty to be able to create my vision, whatever I wish to do with the product and the hair.
Right. Could you also tell us about the detailing, the cuts and the silhouettes of this collection?
So honestly, I think for me in the last 6 months, fashion has kind of taken a more visual space. It's not just about clothing, it's also the dreams and the stories and the fantasy that you weave around fashion that kind of keeps it relevant during these times. And I think that is the idea that we've been projecting through the last 6 months with our collections or with every little capsule that we've been doing. So I think this was again an idea of escape. It was all literally an idea to escape to that every little shine that makes you unique and spectacular in your own right. So I think the entire render of the video was, uh, the person floating in air, literally in the galaxy. So there was, of course, a lot of inferences from the cosmos. So that's why we call it first light. So technically, first light is the emergence of the light that humans see today. It was post the Big Bang, where planets were formed. Stars were formed, and I think that was the key start of different things. Of course, in terms of textiles, there was the USP of the brand, which is industrial couture. So a lot of techniques done with a lot of recycled material, but laid very closely with very intricate and dyed fabrics. Actually, we used a lot of leheria this season. If you saw a few pieces, there was chanderi, there was a beautiful matka silk. So I think that whole juxtapositioning of like a variety of colors with this really, really opulent gold kind of, just put everything in perspective for us.
Right. Amit, is this the first time you've conceptualized a fashion film? How was your experience, and do you look forward to doing more of it?
So technically, I think this was my second time. We just had another showing. So, but I think that this was, of course, we try to take a step further and try to do something a little more technical than probably the earlier fashion films that the brand's done. I felt that it is a time where I can adapt and learn about a newer technique, which was filmmaking, and I thought that this really offered me that platform to be able to, grow myself as a creative individual. And I actually look forward to making more films soon. Yes.
Did you miss the physical aspect of being on ground, being backstage?
I'm actually not a person that misses a lot of things, to be very honest. I mean, I do feel that if something new has come your way, might as well look at it as an opportunity to hone your skills and probably learn something new. Of course, I know that the world is, there's never going to be a case where the world is not going to come back to the traditional ways of showing a run on a runway. But I thought that while we are at it, let us make the most of it.
Right. I'm going to take one last question, Amit.
Of course.
What are your thoughts on seasonless clothing?
I think that, I mean, of course, it's not just a trend. I think it's emerged out of the basic necessity that clothing needs to not be in the moment clothing. I think what you invest in should technically become an extension of you. I think clothing really needs to speak about what you are as a person, who you are, and I think that it needs to be adaptable to different moods of a bearer, different occasions, and I think that seasonless is pretty much not just a trend. I would say it's really the future of creating clothes.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Jaspreet. Thank you all for joining us. For more information on the showcase by TRESemmé presents Amit Aggarwal, please visit the gallery at the LFW Virtual Hub, and we'll see you soon again. Until then, thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.